All right, hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. I'm a talk show host, researcher, lecturer, and writer. It is Saturday, June 9th, 2018. Saturday, June 9th, 2018. And I wanted to talk about this topic here dealing with Donald Trump and Muhammad Ali. And I tried to broadcast earlier today and having technical difficulties on Facebook Live and YouTube, trying to do it live. Okay, so this broadcast, I want to deal with Donald Trump on Friday, June 8th, Friday morning, June 8th. He was preparing to leave for the G7 summit in Canada. And he did a 17-minute, he answered questions from the press for 17 minutes. It was not a standard press conference, okay? But he talked about a number of different things. It was a crazy series of responses, all right? And I watched it live on MSNBC. But he talked about Muhammad Ali, and he talked about the commutation that he gave June 6, 2018, releasing Alice Marie Johnson. Okay, Alice Marie Johnson, a 63-year-old African-American woman who was convicted of cocaine trafficking and money laundering back in 1996 in Tennessee. All right, and he said that he was thinking about, seriously thinking about giving a pardon to Muhammad Ali. Okay, so we're going to talk about Trump made pardon Muhammad Ali. Trump made pardon Muhammad Ali. He does not need it, however. What is Trump's real motive? What's really behind this? Okay, what's really behind this? What's going on here? Because this is crazy. Makes no sense whatsoever. All right. So, Washington Post. I'm gonna cite a number of different articles here. Right. So, Washington Post has a really good article. Trump says he may pardon Muhammad Ali, a move the late boxer's attorney calls unnecessary. A move the late boxer's attorney calls unnecessary. All right, so many people remember Muhammad Ali refused to be drafted into the army to go fight in the Vietnam War. He claimed the status of conscientious objector. He said it was against his Muslim beliefs. So I'm also going to deal with some history of that as well. History of Muhammad Ali refusing to go into the military. Okay, so he refused to be drafted April 28th, 1967. All right, he was convicted of draft evasion on June 20th, 1967. Okay, he was convicted of draft evasion, and he was sentenced to 5 years in prison and fined $10,000, and he was banned from boxing for 3 years. So as soon as this takes place, this verdict comes down June 20th, 1967. He's stripped of his boxing title. Okay, he can no longer fight. All right, and he is going to be vindicated by the U.S. Supreme Court on June 28, 1971. June 28, 1971, the U.S. Supreme Court, in an 8-0 decision, sides with Muhammad Ali. And actually, they determined that in a unanimous ruling, the Supreme Court found that the Department of Justice had improperly told the draft board that Muhammad Ali's stance as a conscientious objector was not motivated by his Muslim religious beliefs. Okay, so the Department of Justice got it wrong. If you look at the article from the Washington Post, Trump says he may pardon Muhammad Ali, a move the late boxer's attorney calls unnecessary. Attorney Ron Tweel was a former attorney of Muhammad Ali. And we know Muhammad Ali passed away June 3rd, 2016, so we just commemorated the anniversary of his passing. And you see two pictures of Muhammad Ali behind me in my Muhammad Ali shirt, so everybody knows I'm a big Muhammad Ali fan, right? So Attorney Ron Twill, in a statement, pointed out that the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Muhammad Ali's conviction in 1971 and a unanimous ruling, okay? And he said, quote, "We appreciate President Trump's sentiment, but a pardon is unnecessary. A pardon is unnecessary. There is no conviction from which a pardon is needed." All right. So with this being the case, and right after this took place, so I watched the back and forth with the press live on MSNBC Friday morning, June 8th. Okay. Went on for about 17 minutes. And then also I went and found the video on YouTube at the White House's official YouTube channel. So any of these interviews that Trump gives, video statements, things like this, you can go to the White House's YouTube channel and you can get the full video, okay? I watched it again there, the full thing. Also, I have the transcript of Trump's statements and the questions from the press. And that's from whitehouse.gov as well, okay? And that is briefings, statements, remarks President Trump, Marine One. That's from June 8th, 2018. Remarks by President Trump before Marine One departure. Before Marine One departure, okay? And he was going to Canada. So I have documentation on this also. All right, if anybody wants to challenge this, I have documentation on this as well. You can read this for yourself at whitehouse.gov. Of course, everybody knows that's the official website of the White House. Well, some people don't know it. All right. So the question we have to ask is, well, wait a second. Most people know that the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Muhammad Ali's conviction. So why would Donald Trump stand there talking to the press? He knows this is going to be picked up across the country. Why would he say he's thinking about pardoning Muhammad Ali? Okay, either one of two things. Either he's extremely stupid or he thinks we're stupid. Because even if this was calculated and premeditated, even if it was calculated and premeditated, he should know that the media is going to have a field day with this and he's going to look stupid. Or he's trying to distract from the terrible week, and also we know that Friday we knew that Paul Manafort was going to court because new charges were brought against Paul Manafort the day before, or Wednesday, by Robert Mueller. Okay, and we also know that Konstantin Kilimnik, who was a Russian, Russian business partner or a Russian ally of Paul Manafort, was indicted as well. We know that early in the week, Rudy Giuliani made some idiotic statements talking about Stormy Daniels. This was a bad week as far as press for Trump, and he's being beaten up in the news cycle day after day. We know that there's been a bad week for his Secretary of his environmental secretary of the EPA, Scott Pruitt. Okay, so Trump got some positive press on Wednesday, June 6th, when he gave a commutation to Alice Marie Johnson. Okay, and what Trump tries to do is to, it appears, and there's an article from HuffingtonPost.com that documents this. It appears that Trump tries to use pardons and commutations to change the news cycle so that it's favorable. Take pressure off of the Russian investigation, the Mueller investigation, things like this. So HuffingtonPost.com has an article from May 31st, 2018, last week. Trump's pardons may send a message to allies caught up in Russia investigation. Trump's pardons may send a message to allies caught up in Russia investigation. Okay? The president continues a pattern of granting a politically oriented pardon after major news breaks in the federal investigation into his campaign and Russia. This is written by SV Date, D-A-T-E, May 31st, 2018, HuffingtonPost.com. Read this article. Okay? And this is what we're seeing. Those like myself who follow the media. And I'm in media. I do radio here in Detroit. 9:10 a.m. the superstation WFDF. Okay? I'm on Sundays 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the African History Network show. I'm also a contributor for YourBlackWorld.net. Okay, so people are speculating, and first of all, almost immediately after he made these statements, articles were being written about Muhammad Ali not needing a pardon. Even right after the statements that he made, Mika Brzezinski on MSNBC said, I don't think Muhammad Ali needs a pardon. She said, we're going to get a fact checker on this. And he does not. Okay? So, some people speculate that Trump is trying to reach out to the African American community by giving a pardon to Muhammad Ali. And the other thing is he wants to be associated with celebrities. Okay? So, if we look at the commutation of Alice Marie Johnson, the only reason why she got a commutation for Trump is because Kim Kardashian advocated for her. Okay? So Kim Kardashian married to Kanye West. She's a reality TV star, right? Trump has always wanted to be associated with celebrities. Trump has always wanted to be associated with celebrities going back decades. Okay? So Trump wanted the photo op with Kim Kardashian. He wants his name in the headlines and the stories associated with Kim Kardashian. He's also friends with Kanye West, okay? And he likes Kanye West. He knows that Kanye West took a beating coming out in support of Trump, wearing the Make America Great Again hat, you know, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, stating the interview that Kanye West did with TMZ. Also, the interview that Kanye West did with Charlamagne the God from 105.1. Okay, and there's an article from Bloomberg.com that talks about this. Bloomberg.com, June 4th, 2018. Trump told Kim Kardashian she and Kanye West are helping him with black voters. Trump told Kim Kardashian she and Kanye West are helping him with black voters. This is written by Jennifer Jacobs for Bloomberg.com. This is not a conspiracy theory website. Okay, this is a mainstream website. They deal with news. They deal with business news. Bloomberg.com, June 4th, 2018. Okay, talks about, it says Donald Trump welcomed Kim Kardashian to the White House last week to discuss prison reform. But there was something else on his mind. Trump told the reality TV star and wife of hip-hop mogul Kanye West in the Oval Office that the couple was boosting his popularity with African Americans, according to two people familiar with the matter. Okay? And we heard Trump brag about this also prior to this meeting take place. Trump was giving a speech somewhere, and I can't remember if he was campaigning for someone, but April 25th, I think it was. About a month before the meeting, Kanye West praised Donald Trump in a tweet, claiming that he and the president, quote unquote, are both dragon energy. Trump later credited the April 25th Kanye West tweet with raising his approval rating among African Americans, a group that has shown scant support for Trump. So we know 13% of African American men who voted in the 2016 election voted for Donald Trump. Okay, some African American men suffer from patriarchy and were just totally clueless. They know Trump was cited in numerous hip-hop songs. Trump had the long-running reality TV show on NBC, The Apprentice. Some people in general, some African American men also, don't follow politics closely. Okay, they operate based upon name recognition. Some fall prey to propaganda on Facebook. We know that Facebook revealed that Russians took out about 3,000 ads on Facebook, paid $100,000, okay, about $100,000, and it reached about 124 million people, okay. And let's see, and we have the article from Washington Post. Well, all the major news outlets have covered this story. We look at an article from the Washington Post that talks about this. I think this is the one. So all this is documented. What I'm saying is thoroughly documented. This is not something made up, okay? Russian operatives use Facebook ads to exploit America's racial and religious divisions. This is from Washington Post. You can document this. Russian operatives used Facebook ads to exploit America's racial and religious divisions. Okay, this is from Washington Post, September 25th, 2017. Okay, the batch of more than 3,000 Russian bought ads. The batch of more than 3,000 Russian bought or purchased ads that Facebook is preparing to turn over to Congress show a deep understanding of social divides in American society, with some ads promoting African American rights groups, including Black Lives Matter, and others suggesting that these same groups pose a rising political threat, say people familiar with the covert influence campaign. All right, and we found out that, and you can research this, we found out that the ads, investigators at Facebook discovered the Russian ads in recent weeks. The company has said after months of trying in vain to trace disinformation efforts to Russia. The company, Facebook, said it has identified at least $100,000 in ads purchased through 470 phony Facebook pages and accounts. Facebook said this spending represented a tiny fraction of the political advertising on the platform on Facebook during the 2016 campaign. But see, the thing is that, and it may not be in this article, maybe another one, when they talk about how many people those phony ads reached, those 3,000 ads reached, okay? These ads reached about 124 million people, all right? And Trump won the 3 battleground states of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania by only 78,000 popular votes. Okay, so as time has gone on, we saw Mark Zuckerberg testify in front of Congress. As time goes on, we see that these phony ads had, number one, there were more than originally we thought. 1, 2, it appears they had a bigger impact on the election than people initially thought. But this is something I was warning the people about because I was seeing these phony ads, I was seeing these phony stories from various fake news websites, things like this pop up on especially Facebook, because I'm on Facebook hours a day. I run, our Facebook fan page, the African History Network. We have 1 million followers there. So I see a whole lot of stuff. All right. This other article from Washington Post. Russian Facebook ads showed a black woman firing a rifle amid efforts to stoke racial strife. This is talking about during the campaign. Russian Facebook ads showed a black woman firing a rifle amid efforts to stoke racial strife. This is from October 2nd, 2017, Washington Post, October 2nd, 2017, okay? And it talks about how the ad was among more than 3,000 Facebook ads delivered to congressional investigators that the company says were bought by 470 accounts and pages controlled by a Russian troll farm, the Internet Research Agency based in St. Petersburg. Okay, so this is not conspiracy theory. This stuff is documented. I can verify what I'm talking about. You need to research this. You need to read this. I'm giving you the articles. I'm giving you the sources for you to go research this. Okay. Among the other Facebook ads shared with lawmakers are those featuring photos of Hillary Clinton behind what appear to be prison bars. This echoed calls by Trump and his supporters during campaign events to, quote unquote, lock her up, imprison Clinton for using a private email server while she was Secretary of State. The Russian disinformation campaign included ads with harsh language and imagery about illegal immigrants. What? The Russian disinformation campaign included ads with harsh language and imagery about illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants, but they'll say illegal immigrants. Others highlighted civil rights groups such as Black Lives Matter and support among Muslim voters for Hillary Clinton. You got to research this, because I speak in Atlanta, Los Angeles. I speak in different cities, Detroit. I do lectures in different cities. Many of our people still don't realize what happened. Many of our people still don't realize what happened. And when you look at, see, all this is connected. All this is connected. When you look at Trump on Friday, June 8th, Friday morning, June 8th, about 8 a.m., and Trump is calling for Russia to be at the G7 meeting. So it's a G8 again. He said Russia should be brought back into the G7, so it's a G8. He said it again on Saturday, June 9th. Okay? If we look at, now, what he didn't say either time is why Russia was kicked out of the G8 in the first place. Russia was kicked out because Vladimir Putin sent troops into Crimea. Crimea was part of Ukraine. It was under the control of Ukraine. He violated international law, sent troops into Crimea to annex Crimea. Russia took control of Crimea in 2014. The G8 kicked Russia out of the G8, then it became a G7 for violating international law. Trump is advocating for Russia to be brought back into the G8, which is something that Putin wants. Okay? So this stuff is huge. So people were asking, well, why is Trump doing all this? Why is Trump doing all this? You're going to find out with the Mueller investigation. That's all I'm going to say. I think the Mueller investigation, we're going to find all this stuff out, and Mueller's going to tie all these dots together. Okay? I already have a pretty good idea, but I'm not going to say it. Okay? So look at read the transcript of the 17-minute back and forth Trump did with the media Friday morning, January 8th. It's right at whitehouse.gov. It's called, I'll give it to you again, Remarks by President Trump Before Marine One Departure, June 8th, 2018, 8:02 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Eastern Standard Time, 8:02 a.m. Whitehouse.gov. This is documented, okay? And Trump said that, he said, you know whether you like it or not, quote, you know whether you like it or not, and it may not be politically correct, but we have a world to run, and in the G7, which used to be the G8, they threw Russia out. They should let Russia come back in because we should have Russia at the negotiating table, end quote. This is what Trump said Friday morning. Now, he advocated for Russia once again on Saturday, June 9th. Neither time did he say why Russia was kicked out of the G8. Okay. And then also, let me see, give you another article, because I want to document what I say. Okay. Because I know you have trolls and all this stuff. And I challenge anybody to refute what I say. I'm providing you the evidence. Go research this. Trump attends G7 with defiance, proposing to readmit Russia. That's from June 8th, 2018 also. And then on June 9th, you look at Washington Post, look at New York Times, things like this. You see him making these same statements as well. Okay. And also, lastly, very important, I want you to watch this clip. I want you to watch this segment from The Last Word on MSNBC from Friday, June 8th, 2018. Katie Tur, who followed Trump on the campaign trail for basically 2 years, she was sitting there for Lawrence O'Donnell, and she covered this story. Okay? And let's see. I'll get you that clip here. I'll get you the name of that clip here in just a minute. Okay. So I want you to check that out also. All right, because I want to document what I'm saying here. All right. Trump surprises staff. Wants Russia at G7. Trump surprises staff. Wants Russia at G7. This is from June 8th, 2018. MSNBC.com. You can just search for that title. It's from the TV show The Last Word. And this goes and breaks all this stuff down, and it deals with the response from senators and the UK. Trump surprises staff, wants Russia at G7. Okay, research this, okay? Because this stuff is deep, all right? And if you've been listening to Malcolm Nance, who's a counterterrorist expert, and he wrote the book, I think it's something like the plot to hack America's election or something like that. He predicted the hacking and the Russian meddling into the 2016 election. He's an African-American man, counterterrorist expert. Okay, he's a contributor on MSNBC. He talked about this on AM Joy this morning. You can go MSNBC.com, look for AM Joy, Joy and Read, look for June 9th, 2018. You'll see him, okay? Also, let's see, which one is this? All right. Trump removes U.S. from G7 joint statement over escalating feud with Canada's Trudeau. That's from June 9th, 2018. Read that also. Washington Post. Trump removes U.S. from G7 joint statement over escalating feud with Canada's Trudeau. Okay, all this is connected. All right, I want to lay this out for you. All of this is connected. Okay, so some suspect, many suspect that Trump is trying to win favorability with the African American community. He is he apparently told Kim Kardashian that Kanye West is helping him with the African American community. So a few weeks ago, Trump cited this very obscure poll that found that his favorability with African American males went from 11% to 22%. Okay. In about a week or 2 weeks, okay? So if we look at the article from Bloomberg again, quote, Kanye West must have some power because you probably saw I doubled my African-American poll numbers. We went from 11% to 22% in 1 week. Trump said May 4th at the National Rifle Association's annual conference in Texas without identifying the source of the data. Okay, now I read about this poll. All right, the poll had a sample size under 200, so that's not reliable. That has a very, very high margin of error. The sample size of this poll was under 200 people, under 200 African American men. The other thing is that Trump said he doubled his poll numbers with African Americans. That's not true. It was with African American men, not African Americans in general. Okay? So he either lied or he made a huge mistake. All right? Now, Trump appeared to be referring to data from a Reuters weekly tracking poll in which the portion of African American men approving of Trump rose from 11% the week ending April 22nd to 22% for the week ending April 29th. But Reuters considers the number of African American respondents to those weekly polls too small to reliably indicate a shift in opinion. Reuters considers the number of African American respondents to those weekly polls too small to reliably indicate a shift in opinion. So Reuters, who actually did the poll, is not claiming that this poll is reliable. And Trump is out here at the National Rifle Association meeting or convention. He's here misstating what the unreliable poll says. So the whole thing is a con. Okay, the whole thing is a con. Now, okay, so we have this here, and this is dealing with Trump saying that Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are helping him with African American voters. Also, Van Jones, who's on CNN. He hosts a show on CNN now also. I think he still has a show on CNN. I really don't watch CNN a lot. I read articles about interviews with on CNN shows. Van Jones just interviewed Kim Kardashian. And also Van Jones was one of the ones instrumental in, he was communicating with Jared Kushner, advocating for Alice Marie Johnson to be released from prison also. Okay. AtlantaBlackStar.com has this article. Kim Kardashian gets roasted for saying Kanye West made Donald Trump relevant to black folks. Kim Kardashian gets roasted for saying Kanye West made Donald Trump relevant to black folks. Now this is from June 8th, Friday, June 8th, 2018. Okay, I'm laying all this out and connecting the dots with this. All right. Because this stuff is deep. Trump is using these pardons and commutations, right, to shift the focus of the media, to shift the news cycle. Okay, I'm going to do a separate one dealing with his battle with the NFL players, and then Sunday night on my show, Sunday, June 10th, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the African History Network show on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, WFDF in Detroit. In the first hour, I'll have as my guest Dr. Claude Anderson. Dr. Claude Anderson, and we'll talk about the NFL, Trump attacking the NFL players. We'll talk some about his latest book, The Black American Reader, 101 Questions You Never Thought to Ask. And we'll talk about what black people should be doing right now as well. We know midterm elections are coming up, but we'll look at what black people should be doing right now also. Okay, visit AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. And we have information right on the homepage, how to listen to the show, how to listen to audio podcasts of the show. And also we broadcast on Facebook Live as well, our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. We broadcast live there. We'll try to broadcast live on our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, as well. Okay, but if we look at this article from AtlantaBlackStar.com, Kim Kardashian recently spoke with CNN's Van Jones about her meeting with Donald Trump that got Alice Marie Johnson released from prison. Johnson, who's 63 years old, she's a great grandmother, spent over 20 years behind bars. I think it was 22 years she spent in prison. This was for a nonviolent drug trafficking offense, and many have been fighting for her freedom. One of the questions that Van Jones asked Kim Kardashian was if she felt Donald Trump used her as a, quote, political pawn, end quote, a political pawn, and if her meeting with the president gave him legitimacy among his detractors. Quote, I think Kanye has already given him legitimacy in that way, end quote, Kim Kardashian said. I was working on this before. I don't think I would be used. At the end of the day, he heard me out. We got the job done. So what could he really use me for? He's using you for a photo op. He's using this to change the news cycle. Okay, Trump, going back years, has always wanted to be around celebrities, associated with celebrities. Okay, so yes, he used her. Okay, yes, he used her. All right, now I'm glad that Alice Marie Johnson is free. All right, I'll probably do another broadcast where I go deep into that, and I'll deal with Trump and President Obama. All right. Now it didn't take long for the Twitter sphere, okay, the Twitter sphere to react to Kim Kardashian's comment about her husband Kanye West making Donald Trump relevant, but making Trump relevant to African Americans. All right. See, this is the publicity game Trump is playing. That's because many said they have walked away from Kanye West for his support of Donald Trump, as well as his recent theory that slavery was a choice for African Americans. Okay. Okay, so check out this article here from, then they have some comments from people on Twitter. Check out this article from AtlantaBlackStar.com. This is from June 8th, 2018. Kim Kardashian gets roasted for saying Kanye West made Donald Trump relevant to black folks. Okay, so many people ask the question, what's the difference between a presidential pardon and a commutation? Okay, people initially were saying Alice Marie Johnson got a pardon. She did not get a pardon. She got a commutation. A commutation means that the president wipes out the remainder of your sentence. Okay, she was sentenced to life in prison. All right. So a commutation means the president wipes out the remainder of your sentence, and usually you have to serve a significant portion of that sentence. She did 22 years. Okay. A commutation does not remove that conviction from your record. So she's still a convicted felon. She's free from prison, and we're happy she's free from prison. But I want to explain to you the difference. She still has a prison record. She's still a convicted felon. Okay? So she has the limitations that a convicted felon has. All right? She can't vote unless she's in the state where you go through a process to get your voting rights. She can't own a firearm. Certain jobs, if she wants to seek employment, certain jobs she can't have because she's a convicted felon, right? Things like this. If she wants to go back to school, she can still probably get financial aid if you read question number 23 on the FAFSA form. As long as she was not receiving financial aid during a period of time, as long as her conviction did not happen during a period of time where she was receiving federal financial aid, she should be eligible to get federal financial aid, whether it's a Pell Grant or student loan. Okay, and I know because I used to deal with, I used to work in a capacity dealing with enrollment at a local community college here in Detroit. And I worked on the No Worker Left Behind program, state of Michigan, Governor Jennifer Granholm. And one of the populations that I was working with were returning citizens. Okay, so we were able to get Pell Grants for some returning citizens, some former felons. So if for the FAFSA form, the financial aid form, federal financial aid form, if you read question number 23, this is something a lot of people have a misconception about. A lot of people think automatically if you are a convicted felon, right, and what we call returning citizens, you come back home, you can't get financial aid to go to school. That's not true. The question that it asks you, and I wrote an article about this also, you can read all of my articles at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Basically, the question question number 23 asks you is, were you receiving federal financial aid during the period of time where you convicted? So I think the first question says, have you been convicted of a crime, or have you been convicted of a felony? Okay. Then it goes on to be more specific, and it asks, were you receiving federal financial aid during the period of time that you were convicted, or when you were convicted, were you receiving federal financial aid? So even if you have a felony, or 2 felonies, or 3 felonies, if you were not receiving federal financial aid, okay, meaning a student loan or a Pell Grant, if you were not receiving that during that period of time you were convicted, then the answer to that question is no. No. This is why you have to read the question and answer the question that's being asked. So a lot of people can actually get financial aid, and they'll more likely qualify for a Pell Grant first. They'll most likely qualify for a Pell Grant because of low income. And grants you don't have to pay back. Student loans you have to pay back. Okay. So a lot of people think they cannot get financing to go to school, and they actually can. It's just a myth. Okay. It's like the myth that Hillary Clinton said black people are super predators. Really? Did you actually research that? Did you actually hear her say black people are super predators? Or did somebody tell you that she said that? Now, when did you go research that? When did you go research the quote? Because I got the information. Politico.com has a fact check article about that. I read the paragraph before the statement, paragraph after the statement. She used the term super predator, but she did not mention any race. So when people say Hillary Clinton said black people are super predators, that's not true. But people don't go do research. People just repeat things and they don't go do research. Okay? All right. So, all of this is connected. All of this is connected. And I've been studying media for 26 years. So I know the game that Trump is playing. Now, in the article from the Washington Post entitled "Trump Says He May Pardon Muhammad Ali," a move the late boxer's attorney calls unnecessary. This is from June 8th, 2018, Friday, June 8th, 2018, written by John Wagner. Reverend Al Sharpton was quoted in this article. Reverend Al Sharpton has known Donald Trump for 35 years. He's protested against Donald Trump, things like this. He also knew Muhammad Ali. Trump's musing about an Ali pardon was blasted by the Reverend Al Sharpton, who accused Donald Trump of, quote, nothing more than grandstanding. Nothing more than grandstanding. Okay? And this is what it is. Okay? Trump is either crazy, there's something wrong with him, or he thinks we're stupid. All right? But he's trying to change the news cycle, trying to dangle this out here with Muhammad Ali. And also, we know that he gave a pardon to Jack Johnson, the first African-American heavyweight champion, okay? Heavyweight boxing champion, right? But the only reason why he did that for Jack Johnson was because Sylvester Stallone, another celebrity, right, advocated for Jack Johnson to have his conviction overturned, okay? He was convicted of transporting a white woman across state lines for immoral purposes, violation of the Mann Act, M-A-N-N, violation of the Mann Act, which dealt with human trafficking. Okay, so now besides criticizing Trump for offering something unnecessary, Reverend Al Sharpton said Trump's past, quote, anti-Muslim and Islamophobic policies and rhetoric, quote, were an affront to Muhammad Ali's religion. He said you can't stand up for Islam while simultaneously denigrating it. You can't stand up for Islam while simultaneously denigrating Islam. Now, Trump has used his clemency powers to pardon or commute sentences in a string of high-profile cases. Okay, and we talked about Jack Johnson. All right, and then also when we look at a pardon, the presidential pardon, number one, it usually comes after a conviction. One, okay. Two, presidential pardon wipes out the conviction. It wipes it off of your record. If you get a presidential pardon, you are immediately freed from prison. Okay, it wipes out the rest of your sentence. You're free from prison, and it wipes off the conviction off your record. So you're no longer a convicted felon, okay, in the eyes of the law, the courts, etc. You're no longer a convicted felon. That's a presidential pardon, different than a commutation. Commutation wipes out the rest of your sentence. You're freed, but you still have the felony conviction on your record, okay? All right, so now Trump said, okay, and dealing with pardons and things like this, he said, I'm going to ask them to, he was talking about the NFL players and sports, those in sports. I'm going to ask them to recommend to me people that were unfairly treated, friends of theirs, or people that they know about. Okay, I'm going to do a separate one on that because that's a joke right there also. If you actually understand what Jeff Sessions is doing with the Department of Justice and how Trump and Jeff Sessions have reversed policies that President Obama had in place that work to reduce the overall U.S. prison population. So what Trump is doing now, what he said, because I went through and read through and studied the whole 17-minute speech, interaction with the media. That's a joke. Well, I'll have to do a separate presentation on that. Okay. All right. Now, okay. So let me look at this here. All right. So when we look at Muhammad Ali, like I said, he doesn't need a pardon from Trump. I want to look at the New York Times had a good article dealing with the fact check, and then I want to get into some history of Muhammad Ali. Let's see here. Okay, so they had a article from June 8th. Fact check. This deals with Trump giving a pardon to Muhammad Ali. Trump considers pardoning Muhammad Ali, whose conviction was already overturned. Okay, they give some more historical information. And Trump said, quote, there will be more pardons. In fact, we're doing right now recommendations on, frankly, we're doing recommendations on Muhammad Ali. All right. So if we look at some background information dealing with this, Muhammad Ali had twice failed the Army aptitude test during the Vietnam War. Okay, and if you saw the movie that came out, I think about 1977, called The Greatest, which starred Muhammad Ali, about his life, they talk about that in there. All right, and then also in the movie Ali from about 2005 with Will Smith as Muhammad Ali. But Muhammad Ali was deemed eligible for military service in 1966 after the Selective Service lowered its qualifications. Okay, Muhammad Ali refused to be drafted and applied to be classified as a conscientious objector, citing his religious beliefs. Okay, and Muhammad Ali said, quote, I ain't got nothing against them Viet Cong, end quote. Okay, Now, he was stripped of his heavyweight championship boxing title and his boxing license and convicted of draft evasion. Okay, so he was convicted June 20 of 1967. He appealed. The case made its way up to the U.S. Supreme Court, which ruled in Muhammad Ali's favor in an 8-0 vote on June 29th, 1971. All right. Now, I've seen June 28th, 1971. So it's either the 28th or the 29th. I've seen June 28th, 1971. I'm going to have to double check that. Now, in its decision, the court called the Justice Department simply, quote, simply wrong as a matter of law, end quote, to not consider Muhammad Ali's argument that he was a conscientious objector based on his religious beliefs and sincerely held views. Okay, the court called the Justice Department, quote unquote, simply wrong as a matter of law. Okay, because as I said before, the Justice Department got it wrong. And let me see, there's an article, there's a reprint of an article from New York Daily News. I'm going to go to that in just a minute here. There's a reprint from an article from the New York Daily News, which was the original article from June 29th, 1971, entitled Muhammad Ali Wins Supreme Court Decision in 1971 Overturning His Conviction for Draft Evasion. So on June 3rd, 2016, the New York Daily News reprinted the original story of Muhammad Ali winning his case. Okay, I'm going to go to that in just a minute. I'm trying to see if they give a date here. I know that came out June 29th, 1971, but the dates that I've seen for him winning his case were June 28th, 1971. So I want to check that, but I think it was June 28, 1971. I think that's the accurate date. Okay. I'm kind of a stickler for dates and accuracy, as you may be able to tell. Okay, so let's go back to this one here. All right. So back to this article from New York Times. All right, so with that, Ali's conviction was void. Now, in 1977, President Jimmy Carter issued a, quote, full, complete, and unconditional pardon, end quote, for most who violated draft laws. This was 1977. Full, complete, and unconditional pardon. In theory, Donald Trump could issue another pardon for Muhammad Ali's draft evasion conviction, but the boxer's family or his lawyers could reject it. It's not necessary. Okay? And Ron Twill, who was an attorney, he's actually an attorney for Muhammad Ali's estate and family, said in a statement on Friday, quote, we appreciate President Trump's sentiment, but a pardon is unnecessary. Okay? It appears he was also an attorney for Muhammad Ali, according to the Washington Post article, but his current capacity, he's an attorney for Ali's estate and family. Now, Muhammad Ali was also charged in 1967 with traffic violations, making an improper left turn and driving without a license. But Donald Trump can only pardon federal crimes. Okay? This is the other thing. So those who have been charged, those who have been indicted in the Mueller investigation, those who will be indicted, if Trump gives them a pardon, a presidential pardon, that only pardons them for federal crimes. they can still be prosecuted in states that crimes took place. They can still be prosecuted by the state's attorney general. Okay, so that's what people have to keep in mind as well. Also, it's important for people to understand that when Richard Nixon resigned from office August 9th, 1974, and June 17th, June 17th is coming up. June 17th is the anniversary of the Watergate break-in, which was June 17th, 1972. Okay? And it took about 2 years through the Watergate investigation. It took about 2 years, 2 years and about 2 months for Richard Nixon to resign from office. He became the first sitting president to resign from office in history. So the Watergate break-in was June 17th, 1972. Richard Nixon resigns from office August 9th, 1974. He got a pardon from his vice president, Gerald Ford, who became president August 9th, 1974. So he gives Nixon a pardon within about a month or so. But 48 people around Richard Nixon went to prison. 48 people around Richard Nixon went to prison. Go to history.com and research Watergate, okay? And research Richard Nixon resigns, okay? All right, now, so Muhammad Ali was charged in 1967 with traffic violations, okay? Now, in his comments on Friday, Donald Trump said he was looking at a list of what he described as 3,000 names of people who could be pardoned because, quote, some folks that have sentences, because, quote, some folks that have sentences that aren't fair, end quote, okay? Let's see, now, okay, so read this article also, fact check. This is from New York Times. Trump considers pardoning Muhammad Ali, whose conviction was already overturned, all right? So there's no need for a pardon, but Trump is doing this for show, and he thinks people are stupid, or he's really crazy, okay? Now, okay, so let's continue here. So I want to go to this article from New York Daily News, right? Muhammad Ali wins Supreme Court decision in 1971 overturning his conviction for draft evasion, all right? And this is a reprint of the original article. This is from June 3rd, 2000, let me see. Yeah, June 3rd, 2016, which is the day Muhammad Ali passed away, okay? And this article was originally published in the New York Daily News June 29th, 1971. Okay, so this was a newspaper before internet. This was the day after the news came down from the Supreme Court, June 28th, 1971. This article is from the next day. So Muhammad Ali is a free man, free to go anywhere he wants, free to fight where and whom he pleases, and for as long as he pleases. Exactly 3 months and 20 days after losing a unanimous decision to Joe Frazier in his biggest fight in the ring, Muhammad Ali won a unanimous decision in an even bigger fight. The Supreme Court voted 8-0. Justice Marshall disqualified himself because he was a Solicitor General when the government brought its case against Muhammad Ali. They voted 8-0 U.S. Supreme Court to overturn Ali's conviction on charges of draft evasion, a conviction that carried with it a $10,000 fine and a 5-year prison term that would certainly have ended the boxing career of the former heavyweight champion of the world. So he spent 3.5 years out of the ring, okay, and he was stripped of his boxing title, stripped of his boxing license. Now, he did not spend any time in prison, okay? He stayed out of jail dealing with the appeals process, all right? Now, when Ali earned a reported $30,000 to $40,000 a year as a public speaker during his absence from the ring, that was merely a pittance compared to what he might have made in the ring or in commercial endorsements during what would have been the most productive years of his athletic life. Now, typically, the two organizations that were quick to rush judgment and strip him of his title and his principal means of earning a living following the conviction were just as quick to issue statements of approbation following the verdict of the Supreme Court, putting out that he wasn't in on the original decision to strip Ali of his title. Bill Brennan, president of the World Boxing Association, the WBA, said in Miami that he will recommend Muhammad Ali be named the WBA's #1 challenger to title holder Joe Frazier. Ali has not been listed in the WBA monthly ratings since his conviction. Okay. So let me. Okay, now in Chicago, where Muhammad Ali was training for a fight with Jimmy Ellis in Houston on July 26, Muhammad Ali corroborated his friend's belief that no action would be taken against those who deprived him of his right to earn a living. Okay, Muhammad Ali said, quote, let's see. Let me back up for a minute. While it seems to some that Muhammad Ali can institute legal action against the WBA and New York State Athletic Commission for their precipitous action in stripping him of his title, it is unlikely Muhammad will take such action. Okay. Quote, Muhammad has always resisted bringing affirmative action. Even after Judge Mansfield's decision, we had to convince him to take action against the New York State Commission so that he could fight Frazier here, said a man close to the camp. All right. All right, and it was Muhammad Ali, when he got the news, he was in Chicago, okay? Muhammad said he learned of the decision, the U.S. Supreme Court decision, from a man in the street in Chicago. Quote, some fellow ran out of his store on 79th Street with tears in his eyes and said, "You're free, you're free. The Supreme Court said so." Muhammad Ali said he grabbed me and hugged me and said, "I'm so happy for you." Okay? Now, when you see the movie The Greatest from 1977, starring Muhammad Ali as himself, they show that scene. But when you see the movie Ali from 2005, starring Will Smith as Muhammad Ali, they changed it. And Ali gets a phone call from Howard Cosell saying the Supreme Court said that you're free, they ruled in your favor, blah, blah, blah. But that's not what happened. And now, Howard Cosell may have called him, but that's not how he found out. He found out from an African-American store owner while Muhammad Ali was in Chicago. So the scene that's depicted in the movie The Greatest from 1977 is accurate. Okay, the one from the movie Ali is not accurate. All right, so okay, so check out the rest of this article here. This is from the New York Daily News. Muhammad Ali wins Supreme Court decision in 1971, overturning his conviction for draft evasion. All right, so Trump is playing games once again. We can't fall for this. We need to read these articles dealing with the Russian involvement, documented Russian involvement in the election. Trump has not talked about how or even the need for the U.S. to protect the 2018 midterm elections. We know that the head of the FBI, the CIA, they've all said that Russia is still here. They will meddle in the elections again. Okay. FBI Director Christopher Wray, who was nominated by Trump, just said a few months ago he testified in front of Congress. He has not been given specific directions from Trump to take action. Okay, so this is big. And then you see Trump Friday, June 8th, Saturday, June 9th, openly advocating for Russia to be brought back into the G8. Okay, it's now G7, but to be brought back in to make it the G8. What's behind all of that? The Central Park Five. The Central Park Five. Remember 1989? You had a jogger in Central Park who was raped, and you had 5 young men, 4 African Americans, 1 Hispanic, who were arrested. They were convicted of the rape. Come to find out years later, DNA evidence exonerated them. The police actually catch the real rapists, right? Donald Trump took out 4 full-page ads. He took out a full-page ad in 4 daily New York newspapers, calling for the death penalty to be brought back, so that they can get the death penalty. He purchased full-page ads in several New York City newspapers calling for the return of the death penalty and stronger policing to bring the alleged rapist to justice. AtlantaBlackStar.com, June 8, 2018. Central Park 5 member warns folks not to be fooled by Trump's clemency efforts. Central Park 5 member warns, W-A-R-N-S, warns folks not to be fooled by Trump's clemency efforts. So, on CNN, Thursday, June 7th, 2018. Once again, thanks for all the birthday wishes, because June 7th was my birthday. Raymond Santana, who was one of the Central Park 5, okay, he was interviewed by Anderson Cooper to discuss Donald Trump's pardoning of Alice Marie Johnson, okay, and he said the president's decision came after a recent meeting. Well, it was said the president's decision came after a recent meeting, with reality TV star Kim Kardashian West. Okay. So Raymond Santana applauded Alice Marie Johnson's sentence being commuted, but he argued that action does not reflect Donald Trump's true character. He said it does not reflect who this guy is. He said, quote, because of this mass track record, because we know that he's deceitful, he's lied several times, he's fabricated things, it's very hard to believe that it comes from a genuine place. Now keep in mind, this is the same guy, fact checking from Washington Post, first 497 days of his presidency, he made 3,500 false and misleading statements. He averages, with that 6.9, about 6.9 false and misleading statements per day. Okay, this is Trump. All right, so this is not made up. I can document. I can document what I'm talking about. And all you have to do, go to Washington Post, and we'll pull it up here. The fact checking from the Washington Post. Okay. Yeah, the first 497 days. This is day 506 of the Donald Trump regime. 7 days. Yeah, 3,000 false and misleading statements. Okay. And that's Washington Post. And what they do is they break them down by category, and then they have the documentation to show why they're false. So you can go research this. Proper documentation ends all conversation. You don't have to believe a word that I say. Proper documentation ends all conversation. Okay? So this is why I'm giving you sources to document what I'm talking about. All right, so Raymond Santana went on to say, Then he met with Kim Kardashian, who spoke to him and consulted with him, and she swayed him to do this. So it just proves that at the end of the day, he's still full of lies and full of trickery, and still full of trickery. Okay? Now, despite DNA evidence clearing the Central Park Five in the brutal assault, Raymond Santana said Trump still sees him and his friends as guilty. Trump still has not come out and apologized to the Central Park Five. Okay? He has not come out and apologized to them. He has not recanted. We know that late in the campaign, okay, late in the 2016 campaign, the case of the Central Park Five came back into the news, and Trump doubled down, and he still sided with the police originally and said, well, the police said they were guilty, so he still believed they were guilty. He has not apologized to them at all. All right. Okay, I'm trying to bring this up here. Yeah, I think it was the first 497 days, but we'll bring this up and document it. All right, so Raymond Santana went on to say, quote, "We were still guilty in his eyes, so at the end of the day, this move does not look like it comes from a good place. We can't trust him. You can't just dangle Kim Kardashian and Kanye West in our face and say, look, I have a heart and I deserve a pass." Okay? So, and Raymond Santana, you know, he said he was happy that Alice Marie Johnson was free from prison, but he's saying no. He said, no, you can't trust Trump. As for the president, Santana said he hopes Trump does more to help underserved communities, as well as address issues of police brutality, mass incarceration, unemployment, and education. All right. So check out this article from AtlantaBlackStar.com. Central Park 5 member warns folks not to be fooled by Trump's clemency. Okay. Central Park 5 member warns folks not to be fooled by Trump's clemency efforts. All right. June 8th, 2018. Okay. Hey, be sure to visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can sign up for the online classes that I teach. We have a bundle pack. You get 10 in the bundle pack. It includes Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. And that is a 14-hour, 7-session online course where I deal with thousands of years of history. It's and they're all on demand. It's a we have a 10-course bundle pack. They're all on demand. You also get Great African Women in History, The Mothers of Civilization. You get African American Resistance in the Era of Donald Trump, Voter Suppression, Reparations, and How Elections Have Consequences. And most of them, you know, I'm doing a PowerPoint presentation. We have video clips, things like this. Okay, so it's on sale right now for limited time, only $60. Regularly $130. It's a 10-course bundle pack, all on demand. Watch from around the world. Watching your smartphone, tablet, computer. Okay, and so that's at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Also, if you'd like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network. PayPal.me/the AHN Show. PayPal.me/the AHN Show. Or you can donate at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Those in the Atlanta area, I'll be in Atlanta Friday, June 15th through Sunday, June 17th for the big Juneteenth celebration. 3-day Juneteenth celebration takes place in Atlanta at Morris Brown College. Okay, Morris Brown College. Visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have the information there for that. And also, I speak that Saturday. Don't know the time yet. I speak that Saturday, June 16th. I have a vendor table all 3 days. Okay, so I have my DVDs there. African History Network table, so you can come out, support the African History Network. And remember, all of my DVD lectures are available at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Okay. Let me see here. Let me bring this up. Fact check Trump. This is running slowly. Yeah, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can also listen to, you can read all of my articles that I write. We have over 800 audio podcasts of my radio shows there as well. And we have a recommended reading list of books also of about 60 books there. Because people would always ask me, you know, what book should I read? So I put together a recommended reading list of books there as well. Okay. All right, so it's 3,251 false and misleading claims in 497 days. Okay, that's what it is. 3,000. President Trump has made 3,251 false or misleading claims in 497 days. It may be close to 3,500 by now, because he's told some whoppers since then. This came out June 1st. I mean, just all the false and misleading statements he made in the 17 minutes on Friday, June 8th. In the 497 days since he took the oath of office, Donald Trump has made 3,251 false or misleading claims, according to the Fact Checkers database that analyzes, categorizes, and tracks every suspect statement uttered by the president. That's an average of more than 6.5 claims a day, false or misleading claims a day. That's an average of more than 6.5 false or misleading claims a day. When he first started this project for for Donald Trump's first 100 days, he averaged 4.9 false or misleading claims a day. But the average number of claims per day keeps climbing as Donald Trump nears the 500-day mark of his presidency. Well, that's because the heat is on him much more now, so he has to keep lying to cover up the other lies. Okay? So check this out. This is from, you can read the rest of it. Check this out. WashingtonPost.com. They have a really, really good fact-checking department. President Trump has made 3,251 false or misleading claims in 497 days. All right. WashingtonPost.com. Okay. So look, hopefully this helped you some. We got to watch this. Make sure we vote also in midterm elections. Be aware of the issues. Understand how the candidates' policies impact you. It's not about political party. It's not about personality. It's about policies. It's about policies. Policies impact people. Okay. All right. And register for the online courses that I teach. Help support the African History Network. You can also donate. PayPal.me/the AHN show. That helps support us as well. If you want me to do a presentation for your group or organization, email me info at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Info at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All right. Hey, remember at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now it's correct wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you have been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. Okay? Remember, right knowledge corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. Imhotep. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.